Hey, that way you won't get no concrete on your boots.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to pour some concrete. I've got a rubber concrete stamp basically that'll go around the edge of the pole, so when that form's pulled off, it'll give it a natural edge. He sprayed his forms down though with that liquid release, so that way concrete don't stick to it so bad, but it's about showtime. Sort of peck that form a little bit, make sure we don't get any honeycombing on the face. You ever had these forms blow off? That makes for a fun day, don't it? Hey, I'll send them kids down there to clean that concrete out if it happens. Oh, really? That'd make for a fun day. All right, I'll report back. They threw their powder release down and now coming back and putting this slate texture on it. Sort of give you this finish here. Well, it's been about a week since they poured this concrete, but the following day after they poured it, they came back, and that powder release that they put on, and that's what adds color to this concrete, they came back, pressure washed it off, which they can sort of control how much they take off, which will, you know, make it darker, make it lighter. So we chose to go a little bit darker with it because in time that'll lighten up some, but they've put probably 2 or 3 coats of sealer over that since then, and so we've got it in pretty good shape around here. But the pool company, that once they got the concrete done, they obviously have installed our handrail, a little safety rope, and then they've been working on getting everything cleaned up. So they've done 2 thorough cleanings on it. The shade's over here, so you can't really see that well, but you can see the bottom. But the pool is 8 feet deep down here, and then it goes up to 3.5 feet down here on this end. So they had to put this little safety rope in here, and that's where your slope starts falling off. And I'll tell you, last week I got in there like a big dummy. That falls off pretty good, and that's pretty slick. So anyway, she's a little cool for swimming at this point, but we got a hole in the ground full of water. Now I was able to get a temporary turn on from my power standpoint, so we was able to supply power to this sub panel, so they were able to get the pump and filter, got it up and running. And then this is the heat pump, which we will use to heat the pool, which we've not put any water in the system on it yet. But that's what we'll use to warm it up. Now, based on the recommendation of the pool company, I ended up going with the heat pump, in which it's an all-electric unit versus a gas heater. Now, that's almost 20,000 gallons of water, and Travis is not going to pay for the propane to heat that when it's January and it's 30 degrees. So I went with the electric heat pump because what we'll use this for is when the temperature, you know, is in the 70s, 80s, and you know the water temperature is a little bit cooler, you can use that heat pump to bring this water temperature up, you know, 6, 7, 8 degrees and get it to where it's comfortable, versus paying for a gas heater, which is going to cost you probably a little bit more in the long run when you're using propane to heat in those situations. The propane would heat it quicker, but I think the heat pump will be plenty efficient for when we're going to use it. Well, other than them coming back and showing me how to use all this stuff, pool company's done. So they've got us installed and they did us a good job. So I'm glad to get this one checked off the list. Now I'm going to be adding some more concrete around this thing. I will not be adding any in here. So video before I put a French drain in here. So French drain comes down through here, and there's the end of the pipe there. And then I've got a French drain that runs underneath my pool equipment, because I'm backing this little breezeway. Any water that gets trapped in here, I want it to be able to come out of here. So there'll be sidewalk coming off the porch, sidewalk coming out of that door. There's a half bath right here, sidewalk will come out. So when I pour this concrete, I'll have some little pockets here where there's not concrete, and I didn't want to dam that water up. So I've got to come back, put a French drain in here, catch my gutter water here, catch my gutter water here. We'll bring it out and then tie this back into it. That way we can get rid of all this water and send it off the hill. But besides that, I'll probably end up running some conduit out of that sub panel out here for something that we might put in the future. So I want to get all that stuff done before I finish the concrete, because all this will get concreted, all this will get concreted, and then we'll put concrete down the back side. So I've got some deck drain that I'll have to install around these edges where the concrete's going to be meeting up. That way we don't get any water working its way down in that seam where the two concretes meet. But I'll show you what I'm going to put in for that. Now I'm going to be using this plastic deck drain where they've got the protective tape over it here. Once we go in here and secure this to the concrete, the other concrete will pour up here. But I'll pitch all the water back to this drain, and then we'll tie it into this drain system and take the water off the hill. That ought to catch your water, keep it going down in between my concrete. Now, if you'd have asked Travis, are you going to put a swimming pool in? I'd have told you no, because the old real estate man in me comes out. And I've been to too many houses where when I've worked up an appraisal on a piece of property, I've given them about 50 cents on the dollar when it comes to the value of a pool. So from an investment standpoint, I think it all depends on where you are and what kind of property you got. Now, I think when I get this done, I think this pool would probably, you know, add some appeal to this property. But would I get every dime of what I put in it out? Probably not. But my wife and my kids, they've been on me, and they're a pretty decent bunch. And so we put a pool in basically because we want these kids to stay here. And I'm trying to create at least a little bit of a place here to where we can have a good time and, as they say, make a few memories. But that's the reason I spent what I spent to put it in. Financially, probably not the best decision, but hopefully we can live some of it out. But that's going to wrap up the old pool project for now. I'll tune back in when we pull the tractor up here and raise them kids up in the bucket, and they can do them a big flip off of it. But I'll show you real quick what we got coming up next. Obviously these posts are not as heavy as that last two loads I took off the trailer. When I turned the camera off after I got the first load off, things got a little bit interesting. The old Kubota was a little light in the rear end when I got it out past the trailer, so she came off the ground. So luckily I'd cleared the trailer so I could let it back down, but I'm on level ground, so I didn't go over there and put anything on the back of the tractor, but I should have put some weight on the back of it, picking up that heavy load. But that's 6x6 steel tubing, 1/4 inch wall, so there is 10 pieces in a bundle of that over there, so that's a little more weight than she wanted. I could pick it straight up and down, but I had no curl. Didn't have enough lead in its pencil. Now I've got a porch that goes around 3 sides of this place, and so when I ordered my trusses and designed this, I've got a 9-foot ceiling, but then I had them put a 6-foot hill on it. That way I could elevate the front of the house, because I'll have a porch that comes around here. But the way I'm going to do it is I had a local fab shop build me some posts and some headers, and so I used 1/8 inch wall 6x6 steel tubing for my post, in which we've got a mounting flange on the bottom. But here's where a corner will be. We'll have a 6x6 come in there and there, but they had a laser cutter that they could cut this tubing, so when you look at this 45-degree angle, sure to be on the money. So everything's laid out and measured, and then I've got places here, once we get everything, the post set and get the headers in place, they'll be able to bolt them up there. That should tie this thing together, but they'll come down, they'll go back down, and then they will 90 back into the house. And we got a mounting flange that I'll go in here and secure blocking to the framing on the inside of the house, and we'll tie that back in. And then we've got 4x6 wood rafters, and then we got a tongue and groove ceiling go on that, and then metal will go on top of that. But that's next on the agenda, getting all these posts mounted. Hopefully we can get a porch on this thing. And then last but not least, we got our stone delivered. So basically gonna be putting a 3-foot wainscot around this thing, and then around the top of it we'll put this little drip ledge on it, and then my siding will come down and sit on that. Now I've went around all my doorways. I'm gonna put poplar trim around all my doors, so I went ahead and put some blocks out here so he can lay a stone up to that. Once the stone's laid and I get my door set, I'll pop this back off, and then my trim will be able to go right in there up against that stone. It should dress it out pretty neat. But I think that stone will sort of dress it up, and it's going to be a lot of metal on this place, so hopefully that'll sort of break it up a little bit. Well, I think that's going to wrap this one up. We got a lot going on, and short time to get there with bad weather coming here in a month or two. So hopefully November and December will be pretty mild, and we can try to get most of the outside buttoned up, and that way when it gets cold and bad, we can go inside and focus on that and try to get it finished out. But if you watch this one, I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.